to share a little bit of history about Scott's Miracle Ride. Scott's Ride started in 2009 when Scott himself went out and ventured across the 48 continental United States to celebrate his 50th birthday party. And when Scott arrived back in Columbus, he was greeted by a group of followers who committed to riding in the ride the following year. This year, Scott will be joined with 11 other riders to venture out across the 48 continental United States. For the past 4 years, Scott's Ride for Miracles has raised over $430,000 for the Children's Miracle Network. I think most interesting about that is every one of those dollars has been spent right here in our community. All $430,000 was spent to take care of children in our community, and we're most appreciative of Scott's generous support. Fundraising for this year has been great as well. Although every year we want to outdo the prior year. And so we're continue our fundraising efforts, and we hope many of you will join us in the conference center after this celebration. We're going to keep the total that we've raised to date for the 2013 ride a secret until the 24th when the riders return. And we hope that all of you join us down on Broadway as the riders return, and we can announce the grand total for this year's fundraising efforts. We want to also give a very special thank you to the employers of all the riders, to the spouses, the families of all of the riders. Your generous giving of your husbands and your employees is most appreciative. And I can only imagine what it would be like at my home if one of the parents was gone for 3 weeks. So I want to thank all of the families for your generous support. Thank you, families. I also want to give a big thank to Jim Morpeth, the owner of Country's Barbecue, for his continuous support of the Children's Miracle Network, and also for loaning Scott to us for the many Children's Miracle Network events that Scott has been a part of. Thanks, Jim, for your support of the children in our community. Also, this ride would not be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. We certainly want to recognize you and thank you for all of your support for Scott's Ride. This year's our presenting sponsor is Mercedes-Benz of Columbus, and I want to thank Richard Joyner for his continuous support of the children in our community. The event sponsors for this year are the Chattahoochee Harley, the Columbus Convention and Visitor Bureau, the Columbus Tape and Video Company, Country's Barbecue, Neonatology Associates of Columbus, Aflac, and TSIS. Thank you, all of the event sponsors. I also want to thank the bike wrap sponsors for this year's ride. Macaulay Propeller, Front Porch of the South, Leisure Lifestyles, Woodruff Properties, and Wells Fargo. Thank you guys for your support of this year's ride. In just a moment, we'll hear from Joe Zanga, the chief of our pediatric program here at Columbus Regional at the Medical Center. I'm just going to share with you some of the great things that are happening in our children's hospital, your children's hospital, right here at the Medical Center. But before Dr. Zanga comes up to speak to us, it's my honor and privilege to introduce the Honorable Mayor Teresa Tomlinson, the great Mayor of Columbus, who has been a very generous and gracious supporter of Columbus Regional Medical Center. Mayor?
Gets involved and that they are indeed successful. And of course to Scott and the Miracle Riders and the families that support them, you have touched our hearts. You know that we're with you every step of the way. I just found out that if you go with Scott, you have to take off work for 21 days. And so since we're in the middle of the budget session, I figured I could probably go and miss a whole lot of debate, but they didn't have room for me because I considered it too late. But maybe next year. But you guys do touch us. You excite us. We follow you daily. Wake up in the morning to get those 5 a.m. reports from wherever you are in another time zone to hear what adventures you have had, and it's a great way to bring the whole community in, because we know what we're here supporting. We're supporting these angels that are out in the audience that you see here, these sweet, precious angels whose lives were saved because of the donations this community and other communities made, whose families were supported by these resources, and that's why we're here. So please, as you're here today to celebrate and wish Scott and the Miracle Riders well, don't forget, take just a moment to meet the families and to see these precious lives that were saved and enhanced because of this effort. We have been doing this since 1995. We've raised nearly $4 million. That's real money for state-of-the-art ventilators, for transporters, to get these sweet, precious lives to the types of medical resources they need to save them. Pediatric beds, this has made a real difference, and if you haven't had an opportunity to go in and see the pediatric ICU unit, you really should, because it's just a miracle what they're doing there, so it's very appropriately named. I will say thousands and thousands of lives have been bettered because of this effort here in this community. Millions of lives have been touched across the United States. And so, Scott, to you and the Miracle Riders, Godspeed. Thank you so very much.
Good afternoon. Morning. Hi. When I arrived a bit more than 4 years ago, I said that my goal was to make the Columbus Regional Health System Department of Pediatrics the leader in the state and region in child health. When he arrived a bit more than a year ago, Chuck Stark said that he wanted Columbus Regional Health System nationally recognized for our clinical outcomes and world-famous service. Enter Scott Restmeyer and the Miracle Riders, now beginning their 5th ride to touch each of the lower 48. They continue to touch our hearts. They are also the messengers of our spoken goals, Chuck's and mine, messengers of the excellence of the work we do to promote child health and cure childhood disease. As supporters of the Children's Miracle Network, every dollar they raise stays here in Columbus. Those dollars equipped our children's cancer program, bought a neonatal transport ambulance, purchased